Good morning. I'm going to be anxious to get this finished and get back into bed. I've been up since 1 o'clock, or awake since 1 o'clock, and up since 2. And I could have started at 3:30, but I didn't. I was answering emails and stuff like that. And spent my meditation this morning outside. I was outside yesterday also, in the atrium, of course. When I say outside, I mean in the atrium in my house, where I can look at night I can look at the stars, and in the daytime I can see the clouds moving across the sky. I did that yesterday. Anyway, today is sort of a follow-up to yesterday's, and for those of you that watch every day, that's fine. For those of you that don't, well, you're either going to have to just take the hit and miss or go back and hear what I said yesterday. The title for today is Wow. Ignoring is resistance. That makes perfect sense, as several people pointed out yesterday. The realization merged what I had separated, the two laws. Esoteric and exoteric, in case you don't know. But anyway, back to what I'm reading. The paradox is coming together. It should have been obvious to me, but it wasn't. It doesn't matter if we actively resist or passively resist. The shadow elements will not be avoided. They will persist until they are healed and we are made whole. But what positive steps can we take in regard to the shadow elements within us and within our culture? The focus needs to be solution-oriented so that we do not get bogged down in or overwhelmed by the problem. May I suggest that loving prayer is a powerful doing. I just did. Indeed, this idea of what you resist persists continued yesterday, but I gained clarity thanks to the video and to several people, some of whom sent me private emails suggesting to me that those that think they're getting away with something by denying and avoiding the shadow elements are very, very much in resistance. So what you resist persists is a law that works both esoterically and exoterically. It works in the inner world as well as the outer world. I don't know why I didn't see that. It's obvious now that I do. And that's the way a lot of revelations burst on us. We can't see, we may be struggling to see something, but it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't click together. And then all of a sudden you see the connection and wow, how could I have missed it? Lots of things happen in my life, and I bet you in the lives of many of us, exactly that way. We don't get something until we're ready to get it, and then all of a sudden, wow, there it is. And I want to suggest that I understand that we are a race, humans. We are a race that has been programmed to fear, programmed to deny and avoid. We've been programmed that way. People that is it a conspiracy? Has it been done to us? Are we victims? Or did we all agree to just play this game together? I mean, what is the reality? I don't know. I can speculate the same as anybody else, but I know it's just speculation because there's lots of things I don't know. And the more I do know, the more I realize I have yet to learn. Which is why I have no problem saying, hey, I wasn't seeing that uh, passive resistance shows up as denial or avoidance. I totally missed that, but I want you to get it. But I also want to get this. While I recognize that it's essential, not just important, but essential that we come to grips with our shadow elements, that we each as individuals come to grips with the dark side of our personality, the dark side of our being, the side that's been wounded and tries to hide and goes into denial. We need to come to grips with that aspect of ourselves, because unless we do, we will continue to project the unacceptable to us parts of ourselves. We will project them onto others and wage war. And we're actually waging the war within ourselves, but we won't see it as taking place within ourselves. We'll still think it's them, not us. But there's only us. And the same thing is true in our culture. Yes, there are serious, serious issues of how human beings have committed awful things. Awful things. And that has to be healed. We don't turn our back on it. We don't deny it. We don't project it. We own it. If we're going to heal, we've got to, as humans, own our shit. Excuse the expression, but we've got to own it, individually and collectively. We've got to tell the truth. You do not get set free. You do not become a free man or become liberated by lying to yourself. It doesn't work that way. Only the truth can set us free, and the truth operates in love. We need to understand that those elements in us, just as those elements in society, are, number one, part of us. Number two, unless we can love them, they will not heal. And they will keep coming back again and again and again until they are integrated and healed. Until we become balanced, I'm a Libra, until we become balanced, we will not become whole. We have to reach the point of equilibrium. It's not war of us against them. That is misguided. That is ignorance. That is bad education. It's bad information. We need to recognize that the whole is us. We are the whole. We are the ones we have been waiting for. You've heard it said again and again and again. We are the ones. I just realized I was sitting half off the screen because I wasn't looking at the monitor, I was looking at the camera. Anyway, we need to own our shadow. And the way to heal our shadow is to love those parts of ourselves that we have rejected. That includes the emotions that we don't allow, the negative emotions. It includes the negative tendencies that we must come to see in ourselves, that they are ours, and we must do the same thing in our culture, in our society. We must look at the elite, the Illuminati, that are perhaps the most wounded of all and the most in denial of all. We must not resist as in fighting them, but our resistance is in not succumbing to the game plan of the war. They have always profited from war. They feed off of negative energy. We need to return good for evil. Ah, that's the rub, isn't it? Which means we have to forgive. If we don't forgive, we can't be forgiven, which is another way of saying if we don't want to heal them, whatever they are, whether they're people or circumstances or whatever, if we're not willing to heal that and them, then we won't heal ourselves. We could go to utopia and it would no longer be utopia because we are there. Because wherever we go, there we are. And we're going to be there with our shadow if we haven't healed it, if we haven't made peace with it. I listened to Bashar yesterday talking about contracting with the ego, and you begin by letting the ego win so that you can win its confidence until you get to the place where the higher self and the ego are dancing with each other. I like that because that's the way I see it has to work. I can't keep fighting me because if I do, I will keep seeing the fight out there. Okay? So I need to work to make peace with myself. But we all need to be praying for our enemies. Love them that persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely. Love them and curse not. Bless them. That's a foreign concept in our world because we've been taught the exact opposite. But we need to hold them in a place. If all we can feel first is pity, then we need to hold them in the place of pity. But ultimately, we need to move to the place of compassion, where we can see, but for the grace of God go I, and actually, there am I. I'm there. I'm in them. That's part of me. They're representing a part of me that I don't like. They're representing a part of me that I've tried to avoid. They're representing something in me that I abhor. But love is the only way out of it. Love is the only way to heal it. It doesn't heal by denial. Please, folks, please understand that when we deny something, it will persist until we stop denying. And it's wonderful to know that denial is a form of resistance. Because a lot of you have fooled yourself, a lot of us have fooled ourselves into thinking that if we don't look at it, it'll go away. If we don't acknowledge it, it's not there. That doesn't work, folks. It just doesn't work. That's a lie that we keep telling ourselves, and we keep trying to believe it, but it's not true. It's not true. Creation is something that we've done together. It is a co-creation. And the spirit of the Creator has worked through us and with us and in us to create this. The Creator, yes, God, that we call God, has done this in and through us. It's not something outside of us. It's not archons or fallen angels or demons or anything like this. It's not this. It's not this at all. It is one thing, not two things. The duality is coming together. The two sides of the coin are going to learn to dance. Will you please get that? Will you please see that? They're going to learn to dance because that is the way home, and that's what's happening. That is the awakening. That is the ascension. That is the enlightenment, if you will. That we recognize that it's no longer two things fighting each other. It's one thing loving itself with all of its myriad expressions, even its apparent contradictions. Loving is the way. Pray for those that you think are enemies and make them friends. It's a process. It's not going to happen like this. Be patient with yourself. But this is where our focus needs to be. It needs to be on the solutions. And we can do it. Thank you for listening. Namaste.